Hello, gorgeous human beings of Magic on Legs. Today is the Ice Queen module, and I am over the moon to be delivering this for you live. I'm seeing a lot of people who are live and on camera today. I think it would take me forever to say hi to everyone, but I'm just looking at your beautiful faces. And I am very excited that you're here live and in the energy. I also see a lot of people that are here, but not on camera. And I know there's people joining us in the Facebook group. So this is all perfect. And I'm very excited to see you. I'm loving the vibes. Marielle's dancing. I love it. Kim's dancing. We're bopping. The vibes are good. This is the best. So today, this is such a huge deal, this conversation. Now, I know some of you are coming in, and this is the first module you're watching. Some of you, just came in yesterday, and this is going to be the module you watch live. There's extraordinary content in this already, but today's module is a freaking masterpiece. If there was a way for me to broadcast this to the entire planet, if that was at all possible, I think we could change the world with this module. This is a piece of what I used to deliver in Femme Fatale that I decided to put in Magic on Legs because it feels like a part of when I talk about the fact that Femme Fatale is a rite of passage. This is what I mean. This conversation is a rite of passage into womanhood. And I feel like for a lot of us, the reason that we're not achieving the things that we want, or the reason we're not feeling the way we've always wanted to feel in our lives, is because we've never had that rite of passage. There's never been the real solid conversation, self-responsibility, ownership of the fact that we are no longer little girls. And there is something big to step into. There's a big responsibility. There are huge conversations to be had. And I'm delivering these for you in some of my bigger programs. But I feel like this conversation is the gateway. It feels like after this, you'll either know where you're supposed to go next, or you'll know what you've got to work on. But this is one of those soul cracking open conversations. Life can't be the same after something like this. I want to warn you that sometimes in discussions like this, you're going to have all kinds of feelings about it. This isn't something about you've got to agree with everything I say. It's something that's supposed to make you consider, think, contemplate what your truth is. Whatever happens in this, if what you take away from it is, I really need to sit with myself and consider what my next moves are after this, we've done what we needed to do. This is meant to make you think and feel and actually have a deep discussion with yourself after the discussion we have together. This is the doorway to your own understanding of yourself. So I really thank you for being here. And we're going to get going. So this module is called the Ice Queen. And the reason this module exists, I'm actually going to keep you all open so I can see you. The reason this module exists is because what I found is a lot of us put in our minds as we're little girls and we're growing up, what we'll be allowed to do when we grow up. And so who here ever had an experience as a little kid that you can remember where maybe you felt like the mother figure in your life or the female power figure in your life was punishing you, and the energy basically was that you were the child and you got punished because you misbehaved, but one day when you were a grown-up you could make your own rules. Do you kind of, if I say that, can you kind of go, yeah, pretty much had that kind of experience? I can't tell an exact moment, but yeah, that fits the narrative. So for a lot of us, what it is the grown-up is the grown-up and the child is the child, and the rules, if they're broken, get punished. And one day you're big enough, you make your own rules. But for now, this is my house, this is my rules, and that's it. There's nothing wrong with this. The issue is there's never the moment where you're actually a grown-up and your rules become your rules. It's like this false thought we had that one day we'd just be old enough to put our own rules and that people would say, okay, that day doesn't come. And so it's a very confusing day because, like, hang on, I had to listen to other people's rules. And then when I try to put my rules in, I'm the villain, I'm the bad guy. Where's the moment where I was supposed to be allowed to make my own rules? When did that day come and go? I missed it. And so what happens is a lot of people will grow up feeling very bitter and resentful of everybody because it feels like I did my job, I did my part, I was a good girl, I was a good person, I did my part. And then all of a sudden, now I don't get what I need, and I'm still asking permission, and I'm still not having my needs met, and nobody's listening to me. And the Ice Queen is the identity that starts to form as a protection from the person that doesn't feel they can be soft anymore. Because you know what? No more Mrs. Nice Guy. No more. Because I get taken advantage of, because people don't care, because nobody listens to me anyway. You name why, this is why, and I'm done. And so the Ice Queen energy is the energy when a person forgets that they are only the main character in their own movie. This is one of the biggest breakthroughs of my life and one of the most simple breakthroughs of my whole life. When we watch a movie, it's often cast through the perspective of one person, unless it's a very artsy production, in which case it's cast as the main character here and the main character there and the main character, and then they all come together somehow and there's a story, which is a far more accurate experience of life, but not usually how movies are cast. It's cast like Cinderella, and the whole story is about Cinderella, and everything is cast through the lens of Cinderella. And the evil sisters are 100% evil because they're through the lens of Cinderella. And the mean mom-in-law is the mean mom-in-law. That's all she is and all she represents, because she is through the lens of Cinderella. And the Prince Charming is only charming because through the lens of Cinderella. And the fairy godmother is only just magic because through the lens of Cinderella in that one storyline. And so we get used to watching stories where somehow the whole world agrees that there's a main character, and the whole world conspires to make that main character the star of the show. And so we have this ideal, this immature ideal as little girls, that there will come a time where our best friend is basically worthy of a supporting actor, best supporting actor award, and is basically the funniest, most available person who totally gets you and remembers everything and nails your birthday and nails everything and is there for everything and all the breakups, and basically does not exist outside the storyline of your life. This is how best friends are cast in movies. They don't exist outside of the main character. You only see them when their job and their role is being the character of being the best friend of the main character. We have this imagination like the partner. The partner's job is to be your partner somehow. They were born to serve you. There was never anything before. There's nothing else next to it. There's nothing else after it. It's as if somehow the partner was only ever drawn up to be the partner. And in the movies that we watched, that's often what happened. The partner is only ever cast as the supporting, loving partner, or the unsupporting, unloving partner, where we see the person misbehave and that's going to impact the main character somehow. But there is no storyline where we just see the supporting characters doing life unrelated to the main character. And I think that warps our sense of understanding, because there's no rite of passage. There's never this like, let's have a mature conversation around other people and how they exist completely unrelated to you. We forget, even our parents, like your parents were born into this world. They were about this big. They couldn't do anything on their own. They had to learn to walk, talk, read, write. They needed to learn to be friends with people. They were heartbroken. They were in love with someone who didn't love them back. They had a best friend that broke their heart. They tried out for a job they didn't get. They failed a test that gave them anxiety. They wondered what they'd be when they grew up. They did so many things before you ever poked your head into the world. Like they were a person for so long before you existed. And for those of you who are parents, sometimes there's this like awakening moment after you've had a child that's like, gosh, that really doesn't change you as much as I thought it would. It doesn't just go eeny, meeny, miny, mo, magical storyline, poof, you're a mom, you know everything, now you know how to behave. It's more just like, I'm everything I was with a really big responsibility. But I still get triggered and upset, and I'm nervous, and I'm afraid I'm not good enough, and now I worry on top of everything. This is great. There isn't really in that moment, I became more intelligent, more capable. So you've got to learn everything as you're going. So how many of you here have had an experience in your life where you really profoundly felt your parents should have known better? That was really your truth in your body and your spirit. Like, Your parents should have known better. Your mom should have known how to do better. Your dad should have known better. Right. And the reason we think this is from a very young perspective. They should have known how to do it. They were my parents. They should have known better. If there was a story, if there was a book when when you make a child, okay, here's the instruction manual on how to be a parent. My parents didn't read it. They really just did not, they did not read the way to be. The thing that we forget is on the back of the book, there's also a piece of the manual that says how to be the best daughter. And we didn't read that one either. Because how many of your parents could say, I don't think my daughter read the manual? It's just as easy for a daughter to say, shouldn't your mother love you unconditionally? As it should be for a mother to say, shouldn't your daughter love you and respect you unconditionally? That is a very beautiful ideal, and it's cast in movies as if it's possible. But the fact is, we're all individual humans with an entirely unique journey. And the breakthrough and the part of the rite of passage into womanhood is the real, sincere understanding that no one here was born for you, not even your kids. Every unique person on the planet was born to fulfill their own unique life. And then we impact each other. So you let someone impact you positively or negatively. But your partner was not put on the planet to love you. And your children were not put on the planet to make you proud. And your parents were not put on the planet to take care of you. That's not the purpose of humans. It just so happens that interpersonal relationships are an inevitable, important part of being alive. And it's something we all get to learn how to do. But the Ice Queen forgets all of that. The Ice Queen has an expectation of how people should behave. And if the person that you decided should have treated you differently doesn't treat you that way, you punish them so that they understand they should do better for you. This is the Ice Queen's behavior. Now, when we speak about it on an outside perspective, it sounds a little nuts. Like, who would ever be that? That's terrible. So can you imagine this moment if I was like, so to drive this point home, we've got your husband here. Partner, come sit down in this chair. Let's have a conversation. And you're like, no, okay, wait. I think I get it. What happens when you wake up in the morning and your partner's in a good mood and they're singing in the kitchen, la, 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 and you're like, oh, why are you such in a good mood? You're annoying. Because in my movie this morning, it's quiet. So you need to be quiet. When your kids are overexcited and you say, okay, everybody sit down and be quiet. Everybody's way too excited. I'm canceling everything. Christmas is canceled unless you calm down. Everybody needs to just, I cannot handle the level of excitement. In my movie, in my mind today, no one was excited, and I will make it that way. When you decide you're launching something in your business and you say, launching this now, and people don't buy, and then you hate them all. You're like, in my movie story today, I said go, and you all said la 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 la, take my money, it's yours. And you didn't do that, and so now I'm not answering any questions. I'm not available. I need space. Now, there is a distinction, very important difference between being angry, being disappointed, being sad, being upset, and being the Ice Queen. And the difference is, in one, you feel what you feel, and in the other one, you think it's someone else's fault that you feel what you feel, and that they made a mistake, and they messed up your story, and they should have known better, because they didn't read the script, because they should know better, because if they knew you, they would know that that's not how they should behave in their own life if they want you to be happy. Makes so much sense. Don't you know me at all? If you want to make me happy, you should behave entirely differently than the way you want to behave in order for me to be happy. Do you not know how this works? This is the Ice Queen energy that we sometimes fall into, and we completely forget for a moment that the only movie that we are the main character of is ours. So this is a concept you may have heard before. But I want to pivot it a little bit because this is the part that really blew my socks off. This is the part where I was like, oh my gosh, that is so close to what I thought of without ever thinking of it. You are a secondary character at best for everyone else on the planet, which means you are probably messing up the storyline for everybody all the time. When you're upset that they didn't behave for you, you're the annoying, unsupportive best friend actor. When you're nagging your partner because they again didn't do something when they just finally have this 1 second of peace, you're the nagging, unsupporting wife in the movie. When you try to control the narrative with a friend or a client or a person at the gas station, those people all seem to be secondary or third characters in your movie. But the fact is, not only are you not the main character, you may not even be the secondary character. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of people you have expectations of that don't even count you in the main cast. If you were to watch the credits at the end, you'd be like next to the sound guy. You don't even matter in the production. And you've got your knickers in a twist because these people haven't read the script of your movie. And we are operating so close to angry all the time, wondering why people didn't get the memo that we were the main character. When in fact, they're like, who are you? I think you're a bit character in my movie. You're supposed to be standing over there by the Coke machine in silence, scrolling on a phone. That's your job right now. You do not have a line in this movie. You have no line in this movie. None. Don't know why you're talking to me. You're upset at how I looked at you. I wasn't looking at you. I was looking at her. Read the script. You're supposed to be by, you see the pop machine there? Right there, scrolling on your phone. Silent part. That's your job. Go back. We're like, how dare you? Do you not know this is my movie? Do you not know I'm the main character of this movie? You're on the wrong set, Shirley. This is not your movie. This is my movie. So we are getting into conflict with strangers because we want people that don't even care about our existence to value us as basically secondary characters when we're the bit character with a silent part in their movie. There is a level of emotional maturity required for this conversation to land the way it gets to that is more than most of us have ever had the reason to have in our lives. And that's what blows my mind. When I say we didn't have a rite of passage into womanhood, this is what I mean. How often, like, did you see how that person looked at me? No, I didn't, because I was thinking about something very important to me in that moment. And I'm pretty sure the person you think looked at you got a whiff of something weird and just happened to be looking in your direction, but it doesn't matter. Or they had a thought about you, but the thought about you kind of went like this. Oh, look at this bit character part that's wearing something I would not have used as a costume in my movie. That's interesting. I wouldn't have chosen that as an outfit, but who cares? Just one scene in the movie. Moving on. People might judge you, but they don't care about judging you. People might look at you, but they don't care about looking at you. People might not like you, but they don't even care about not liking you. People might like you, but they don't care about liking you. There are people in this world having thoughts about you and feelings about you that they will forget by tomorrow. Like it's a passing thought. That's a strange outfit. That person has an interesting nose. I would never get a piercing there. I don't think that's the right color for her. That's a lot of makeup. I wish I knew how to make my makeup look like that. Oh, I've always wanted that purse. Next day, remember that girl yesterday with the makeup? No. But you, I will never forget the way that stranger looked at my makeup. I know for sure what it meant. The world needs to be better. Our job is to master the movie of our life and to realize that the way a movie is actually cast is that all the focus is on the main character. There's a few people who really only matter as long as they're interacting with the main character. There's the people who have little interactions, but they don't make the movie at all. Then there's the people who pass in the back that you never notice. Then there's the people who create the sound and the light and the music and the ambiance, but really they don't ever show up in the movie. That's what your life is. And most of the time, the people that you don't live your best movie for are the most insignificant people in the movie. I don't want to appear too confident because the bit part person waiting for the bus on the other side of the street might have a thought about that. I don't want to walk with too much confidence because the one scene in the grocery store where the strangers that I'll never see again that don't know anything about me, when I walk in, I would hate for that scene to look different than what I imagine in my mind. And so I'm going to work really hard all of my life so that when I do cross paths with the strangers in the grocery store, that'll never remember me because they're too confused or not confused, consumed by their own movie and my bit part in their movie. And they've never considered for a second I'm the main character because that would be completely ludicrous. But I'm going to spend my entire day worried about this grocery store entrance while nobody remembers who the heck I am in 5 minutes. I can't dress that way. I can't walk that way. I can't claim this space. I can't be confident because you know the scene in the movie where the person's scrolling mindlessly through their phone? Yeah, in that scene, I'm the person on the phone that they're scrolling to watch, but you wouldn't know that because they don't actually show that part in the movie because it's so insignificant. But I lived my entire life in order for that character by the Coke machine scrolling on their phone that are looking at me in the phone screen as they're scrolling to have a good experience of that scene. And that takes a lot of work to be in character. It's a lot of focus. Get myself in the bit and the cards. It's a lot. So the Ice Queen is constantly punishing everybody that's misbehaving, even if they didn't read the script, even though they're bit part, even though they didn't even know they were in the movie. And they're changing their behavior to have perfect strangers have an experience of them that they think would be more pleasurable for them. The whole thing is so far removed from what you're actually in charge of. It's kind of mind-boggling. So what do we need in order to thaw the heart, to like make this all melt? Because this is, if you can imagine the pressure of that, the unhealthy pressure of that, it's like you're frozen. You're not feeling soft and feminine and warm. You're like, everyone must follow the script. I'm not even really aware of myself and how I feel. I'm just watching to see if you respect me, if you like me, if you accept me, if you listen to me, if you're copying me, if you're speaking of me in a good way or a bad way or this way or that way, or if you're judging me or if you're this or that. I'm not even in my own body. I have to freeze my experience of me in order to be in my experience of you, to see whether or not this movie's any good. And time passes by. The Ice Queen really just is the part of you that freezes your real experience of your life to try to control the narrative everywhere around you. Like, it's as if instead of being the main character, you're the director. You in the back, yeah, you need to be doing this more. You shouldn't even be noticing that person. It's your life. It's constantly wondering, does this person care enough about me? Okay, so hang on a second. The way the movie goes, the way the movie is supposed to go, is if I have a best friend, and this best friend is going to New Orleans, the way the movie is supposed to go is you see the scene where I'm painting my toes and listening to 80s music, and then the phone rings And I pick it up while I'm chewing gum, and I bring the sound down, and I go, "Hi." And then my friend goes, "You're going to New Orleans." And I go, "Yay." And then the scene changes, and next thing we're in New Orleans, and it's amazing. That's what's supposed to happen. Except that's not what happened. I was sitting in my living room, scrolling through Facebook, and this person that I have cast as my best friend posted a picture in New Orleans. How little does she care about me that she didn't even tell me she was going? Never mind inviting me, never mind telling me that I was going. In the movie, there isn't even a discussion. I think in the movie, the friend pays for the friend. She loves the friend so much. But in the movie, when your friend loves you, they call you, they tell you you're both going, and then you end up going together. And this is not what's happening in my movie. And so the only plausible explanation for this is that my friend hates me. And I think I really need to punish my friend for that, because if my friend wants to remain being the main character, the secondary character in this extraordinary film that I have written and directed and executed, and if she would like to continue receiving the scripts of how she must behave, she's going to need to start calling me a lot more excited about the fact that we're traveling together. And I don't know how we get there, but we magically get there, and there's the best music playing, and we have matching outfits. And that's the plan. And anything that's not that, maybe I need to go on a trip of my own and not invite my friend. Maybe I just stop answering the phone for a month until she asks me what's wrong, because she should know what she did wrong. The thing she did wrong is she went on a trip without asking me if I wanted to go. Now, how does life really happen is this friend has an entire life of their own. Entirely. And you are a character part in their movie. And they just had this incredible trip. And your scene is the phone call 2 weeks after the trip where you're like, So the movie's now cast from the friend part. Best time ever, best memories, still feeling so good. Are you okay? Sure. What's wrong? I'm the main character now. What's wrong? You should know. I should. I don't know what I did. Well, you went to New Orleans. Yes, that was written in my script. Didn't invite me. No, that was not written in my script. You didn't have the part in my movie where you come. Well, then I must not be your friend. No, you are. Look, here's all the parts you have in my life. Well, if I was your friend, you would have invited me. No, in your script, in your movie, you invite your friend. In my script, I invited my sister. You must not love me. I need to find myself a sister. I can't believe my parents never wrote one in for me. This is preposterous. Who writes this script? The scenes where our friends live something that has nothing to do with us don't make it in the real movies. So we don't know how to handle those. Have you ever been offended if your friend didn't invite you to their wedding? Or you didn't make it as a bridesmaid? Or you were the last to find out they were pregnant? Or you weren't invited to the baby shower? Or there was something great in their life, and you found out you were the last one, and it totally shattered your heart because it meant that they did not love you as much as you thought they did? The whole story about them not loving you was entirely your story, because what their story was is they just got married. It was the happiest day of their whole entire life. They thought of a bunch of people to call first. They never thought of who not to call because they were just happy. So all they were thinking about was who to call. They did that. They're still happy. They're telling you now you're mad because you're seventh in line. Why do we do that? This is the Ice Queen. I don't matter unless you make me matter. And we do this in our relationships all the time. Your partner forgot your birthday. Oh my gosh. But if forget someone's birthday, it's because you got something on your plate and something happened and you didn't have time. And there's so many good reasons when you forget. But when someone else forgets, because it's not written in the script, there's pain. So what we've got to learn to do is balance our self-importance with other people's self-importance. So a lot of people will say things like, you just think you matter so much, you don't matter that much. And that's not actually the point of what I'm saying in this Ice Queen module. I don't want you to try to act like you matter less. That has never been the solution. The thing is to understand that everyone matters more than you've been considering they do. So the person that cut you off on the highway, that in your mind is an absolute maniac with no driving skills, may have a person giving birth in the passenger seat. In the main story of their life, they may be rushing to the hospital to go meet someone they love that's got minutes left. They may have a first date with a person and they are late and they're freaking out. They might have an interview that they're late for, and if they don't get this job, their whole family is in shambles. They might have anything as the main character of their movie going on, but in our movie, everyone else that's anything past a secondary or maybe third level character doesn't matter. And our way of controlling the narrative of our life is we just cut people off so that they don't matter. It's how we punish them. You don't matter, you don't matter, you don't matter. So what's the solution to this? Because obviously, it doesn't really feel realistic to start imagining that every single person in the world should matter as much as you because it's your life. It doesn't make sense to be, oh, I can't be upset with this person who didn't treat me well, because what if they're going through something all the time? It's not possible to do that all the time. But what is possible, though, is to make peace with the fact that although we matter so much and other people matter so much, we don't always matter to each other more than we matter to ourselves in the moment. You put yourself first sometimes above other people because you decide that you matter. That's your job. And you get to do that while still honoring and respecting another person and saying, look, I totally respect what you must be feeling. I totally respect that this is not the way you wanted it to go, but this is the decision that I'm making. And understanding that you are a secondary character and they will be allowed to be upset with you about that. And they will be able to decide that you don't like them and that you're mean and that you're all these things. But the fact is, it doesn't matter. This is the big breakthrough. Doesn't matter what it looks like. What matters is what it is. If you genuinely don't care about people and you're mean and you wish them harm, you need to work on yourself. But if when you put yourself first, the people around you are offended because they think you don't care about them, and that's not true, you can hold your heart and their heart and say, I hate that that's how you feel, because whenever I've felt that in my life, it's been really hard for me to feel that. But it isn't true. And then you can let it go. Because it doesn't matter what it looks like. What matters is what it is. When a person says, I do love you, I swear, and you're like, well, if you would have loved me, you would have done this. Let it go. What you're saying is it doesn't look like you love me. You're going to discredit what it is because of what it looks like. Have you ever had a short temper with a person that you love and been a little short and made them feel like they didn't matter? Has that ever happened to you? A friend, your mom, your siblings, a client, somebody that you've just been short with, and in that moment, it looked like they didn't matter? Yeah. But the thing we really want people to know deep down is that it can't always look perfect. I can love you every day of my life, but it might always not look like I do. Sometimes it'll look like something else. It'll look like I'm impatient. It'll look like I'm a jerk. It'll look like I'm this and I'm that, but I actually love you every day. How can we expect other people to believe that about us if we won't let ourselves believe that about anybody else? Here's what I've started to really realize in my life. The more compassion I give to other people, the more I can actually believe that people are good. Because if whenever and compassion to myself. So if I make someone feel bad and I say, gosh, I can totally see how when people do this to me, I make it mean stuff. And I give compassion to everybody in that moment. Next time it happens, I'm like, this is probably one of those moments where it doesn't look like what it is. I give compassion. I can trust people so much more. Because the number one reason the Ice Queen is the Ice Queen is because she thinks she's safer with a frozen heart. We're not bad people. We just really think if we freeze everything, there's less chances that we will get hurt. It takes a lot of energy to keep yourself frozen. You've got to constantly make sure you're not falling in love with people. You've got to constantly make sure you're not trusting people by accident. You've got to constantly make sure you're not being silly and imagining things are better than they are. You've got to constantly look out for the pain that might come later. You've got to constantly be on edge, looking for other people's ulterior motives all the time. It can be very painful to be hurt by someone you love because you put your guard down. But I'll tell you, my lived experience is that it hurts more to never let anyone really matter in case they don't use that role properly. What would it look like? What are you the most afraid of? And this is something I would contemplate for a moment. Like, what are you the most afraid of when you forgive a person quickly? That they won't take what they did seriously. They'll think they can always hurt you. If the apology comes easy, they'll just do it again, right? How do you feel when someone won't accept your apology? Do you feel like, oh, that's very wise that you do that because had you accepted my apology, I was going to do it to you again tomorrow. Smart person you are. Or do you feel like, you must not love me if you don't forgive me because if you did, you know what kind of person I am and you would know that I didn't mean it and blah, 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 blah. So basically, if you don't forgive them, it's because you're protecting you. And if they don't forgive you, it's because they're evil. How does that work? And why don't we have these kinds of discussions when we're 14? How many boyfriends or partners have you broken up with just to see if they love you enough to not let you go? Just to see when you're like 14, 15, 16. I don't think I can be in this relationship anymore. If you're going to be this way, if you're going to do those things, then I don't think we could be together anymore. I thought you'd run after me. I thought you'd beg. Clearly, you don't love me. The test. Testing people. I must not be your friend. You must not love me that much. You must not care. If you loved me, you wouldn't have acted that way. If you loved me, you would not have responded that way. If you loved me, you would not have led that way. Now, this seems harmless, but the issue is that this actually ripples everywhere. Because we want to be strong, powerful women in life, in business. We want to be able to say, I can handle what's coming for me. Like who here is building a business and would really love it to be effortless, that powerful, successful people pay you big amounts of money easily every week, every day, every second, right? Wouldn't that be nice? So if we look at how all this translates as a powerful woman in business, if you can't handle when people misbehave with you, you're going to stop the flow of people in your life. You'll say, I don't want to be in relationship with these kinds of clients because when they do that, I feel this way. I don't want to trust clients because when they do this, I'm going to feel this way. I don't want to keep my heart open because if I do, people will take advantage of me and then they'll do this. And so we become the Ice Queen in business. I'd love to see, by show of hands, who recognizes that at the beginning of their journey, they had this beautiful innocence And when they look at life now, they're like, oh boy, I do not believe what I believed about people or the world anymore. Who has had that realization? Quite a few of you. This is the ice queen coming through. People won't do it. People are liars. People tell you they care about themselves, but they don't. They tell you they'll pay, but they don't. People say that they are good people, but then they turn around and they do this. People talk badly of you. They don't utilize the service properly and they want a refund. People say this, people do that. People want that. And we start to build a really strong shell around ourselves. Now let's flip the script. Who here has ever bought something from someone and felt like you were so mad that you spent money on the thing you bought and you were so upset at the person that took the money and you feel like they were a scam artist, the worst person in the world, and you're so mad that they took your money, right? So how is it that when they do it to you, they're bad, but when you do it, you're just standing for what's right? It's this double standard that makes us blocked from the relationships we want, from the money we want, from the intimacy we want. We've got to have compassion for ourselves and for other people. We've got to be able to trust, even when we've been hurt. And we've got to be able to put ourselves in other people's situation. Now, at the same time as we've got to be able to do that, there's another strength that needs to come in. And this, I think, is what takes this module to the next level. If you're going to be a major character in a lot of people's lives, this means you have a lot of friends, you have a big family, you have a lot of clients, you're known by a lot of people on the planet. You're going to have to be in relationship with a lot of people. You are not going to be able to nail your role all the time. Do you acknowledge that? That the thing is, you're not the main character in their movie. You're the second or third character, and they have a script, and you may not be following the script. They bought the thing with you, and they got something that was not what they had written in the storyline. Could that happen? Yes. You said something, and it triggered them, and it bugged them, and they don't like that you... Like, I'm talking right now. I'm in my life. I've got my computer right here. I can see you. My mouth is talking. You are listening. I only am the main character in my movie. To you, I'm a person on a screen. How weird is that? I'm everything to me. I'm everything I know. I woke up this morning and I saw every single little thing I needed to do in order to get to this training today. I know every single thing I had to put in place in order for this to happen. And you have an experience of me, which is you saw that this was happening, you got an email, you saw a live stream, you saw a post, you said, I'm coming, you opened your computer after doing everything that you're doing that I have no idea about. You put in the Zoom information, you waited, the animation came on, I came in, hello, now I'm saying things you may or may not like. That's the extent of our meeting today. If you let me impact you longer than that, it's your choice. You could also decide that I don't matter at all. And if I decide you're a terrible person for that, I'm going to have a terrible day because square number 12 decided that I didn't nail it. We live our lives constantly trying to figure out if we work, if we're good enough, if we're lovable, by looking at other people's perspective of us when they can't have a full comprehension of who we are at all because they only know the part they're present for. Like the best friend in the movie, we only ever see when she's being a great best friend. We don't see her being a psycho to her partner. We don't see her being angry at her boss. We don't see her being heartbroken by her sister. We don't see any of her life, but we say we love her. Why? Because she's a good best friend. We don't know anything else. She could have stolen $1 out of a blind person's purse last week, and none of us know because they didn't show that scene in the movie. We think she's great because in the scene that we saw, she was amazing. That's what life is. If someone catches a scene in your movie where they don't like you, they could make up the entire experience of your character by one line, one moment, one look. So none of it is really real, the way people feel about you. It can all change. Someone that doesn't like you could like you, and someone who likes you could not like you based on a different scene. Can you imagine if we made every single interaction with every single person the be all and end all of our life all the time? Oh, yeah. You can't imagine doing that. It's really exhausting. And then eventually you get sick of it and you decide no one matters at all. And you shut it down. Ice queen. People have got to work real hard to be your friend. People have to work real hard to be in your inner circle. People have to work real hard, and they've got to show you that they deserve to be trusted. People don't care that much. Strong, powerful people don't care enough to jump through hoops for you so that you're not worried that they're a bad person. As a matter of fact, the people who will jump through hoops to try to show you that they're not a bad person are usually the bad people. Because the ones that know that they're good will say, I don't really like what you're trying to make me prove here. Like, I'm a good person. You either love me or you don't. I don't know what to tell you. And the other person's like, I'll jump through hoops for you. If it helps it look different than what it is, I will jump through all the hoops. I don't know about you, but if I have a person in my life that's constantly making me prove it, that I'm a good person, I get bored of that real quick. Do you? Like, so who are your favorite people? Who are actually the people in your life that you're like, I love you. I just feel so good when I'm with you. Who are those people? What's the vibe of those people? Thank you. What's the vibe of those people? They're people who have a great mood of their own. When they go through a hard thing, they can handle themselves. They don't make you responsible for anything in their lives, but they can share stuff with you. You don't need to alter your behavior or what you care about or what you think in order to fit their mold. You're not worried about saying something that's going to freak them out. You don't feel guilty or bad about your life in contrast to their life. You feel like they have the bandwidth to be happy for you if something good is happening. You feel like they have the bandwidth to feel for you if something hard is happening. That's really the extent of humanity. And if they don't have it one day and they're just kind of exhausted and they don't have the bandwidth to hold you one day, that doesn't mean they don't like you. That means they don't have the bandwidth in their own life to hold the thing that you want them to hold. Have you sometimes not had the bandwidth to hold what someone wants you to hold? So what do we need to make peace with? This is like the big thing. We need to be willing, and it's so beautiful that this is coming now because I just had the most incredible conversations in one of my programs with one of you in this room. But we've got to be willing to be seen as a villain in order to not be the ice queen. Because the ice queen shows up when you are unwilling to be seen as a villain. You're not a villain. But it hurts you so bad when people think you are. It hurts you so bad when people don't understand you. It hurts you so bad when they misunderstand you. It hurts you so bad when they try to put you in the light of being bad. It hurts you so bad. And so you want to keep everybody at arm's distance in case they could misunderstand you, in case they could tell someone you're a villain, in case they could treat you in a way where you feel bad because it feels like they don't care about you, in case. If you are willing to be seen like a villain, while knowing that you're not, you never need to be the ice queen. The ice queen is the thing you protect yourself from. Well, you must not love me, so ice queen. Well, you must not respect me, ice queen. Well, you must think I'm this terrible person, ice queen. Well, you must not think I deserve this, ice queen. Well, you must not think that I have the right intentions, ice queen. Well, you must not think that I'm ice queen. To protect myself from what you think it looks like. If you want to be in all of your magnetism, magic on legs, you've got to be able to hold not just the beauty of that magnetism, but the projections of that magnetism. People who say you should have known better. If you're so successful, you should be able to do this. If you're supposed to be a good mom, then you should be able to do that. If you're supposed to be a great partner, you should be able to do that. If you're supposed to be a good businesswoman, you're supposed to do that. If you make all that much money, then you should be able to do that. If you're supposed to be, you have that many clients, you should be able to do this. If you have that many friends, you should be able to do that. If you're supposed to be my friend, you should be able to do that. And if you didn't, it means you're a villain. If you can't hold that projection, you will always be less than you can be, because you're going to spend your entire day worrying more about who you are as a secondary character than as a main character. We pretend that we know that we're the main character in our movie, but in fact, it's not true. We're waiting for the entire movie to come together, for everyone to accept that we're the main character before we own that main character role. That's what's actually happening. Only when my partner really treats me like I'm the main character in this movie. Only when my parents treat me like I'm the main character in this movie. Only when my siblings, my friends, my employees, my clients, the world. Only when everyone else shows me that I'm the main character will I start acting like it. In the meantime, I'm spending all my time trying to figure out what other people are thinking and feeling. And I'm actually a secondary character in everybody else's movie. And I never own the main character in mine, because I'm spending so much time trying to figure out what other people are thinking and who they are and what they're doing. Every time you gossip, you're a secondary character. Every time you talk about another person, they're the main character you're talking about. Every time you're upset by someone's behavior, they're the main character. As the main character in your life, your job is to create the life that you want, the love that you want, the health that you want, the manifestations that you want, to cultivate within your mind, your heart, your soul, your body. It's all about you. The more time you spend trying to figure out if other people have decided if you're the main character, the more time you're trying to figure out other people, the more you're a secondary character. And that's why your life isn't becoming what you want it to be in all areas. Even when you're wondering why you don't have as many followers as you want on social media, you're trying to figure out how to be a better secondary character, third character, bit character for people who are scrolling in the spare time they have in this extraordinary life they're living. Every time you're trying to figure out how to make a person do something, you're a secondary character. Because as the main character, you're figuring out what you're doing. You care about your peace, your mind, your heart, your spirit, your responsibility. If you're not a villain, but other people see you as a villain, that doesn't change who you are. And if the whole purpose of your life is for you to uncover who you are and to create yourself and to create your life, then what people think about you doesn't really truly matter all that much. They're just having an experience about you, in which case they've forgotten they're the main character in their movie and they're spending way too much time thinking about what you're thinking, what your motives are, what you really meant, why you didn't do what they think you should have done, why. They're completely thinking about you instead of themselves. So what I like to do, and this has been a really incredible reclamation of power for me, when I find that people are projecting things onto me, whether it's that I'm the greatest or the worst, I just remember I'm the main character. Doesn't matter what they're saying. What matters is that I'm the main character. How I respond to that, how I navigate the rest of my day in response to that, I'm the main character in my life. And in that moment, those people forgot that they were the main character and they've made me the main character too. And I can actually breathe into that and say, okay, guess I'm the main character today. Everybody got the memo. Whether I like what they're thinking or not, that's a lot of energy in my direction. And what do I want to do about that? Whether someone makes me the villain or the hero, in their story, they're giving me an extreme level of importance. What I really want for you, what I want the most, is I want to be one of your favorite supporting characters, one that supports you being the main character of your life. One where when you listen to me, you get to spend time with you and your mind and your thoughts. One where you are constantly thinking about you and what's best for you, and I'm part of what helps you do that. I don't want to be the main character in your life. If you think I'm a supervillain or you think that I'm the thing you should be, and I don't want to be either of those things. But if you're going to give me that, well, then I'll just take ownership that for this moment, I'm the main character in this movie and I'll breathe. Because we don't want that pressure. We don't want the pressure of disappointing. We don't want the pressure of it falling apart. We don't want the pressure of any of it. And so we turn our feelings off. Ice Queen. Don't give me that much responsibility. Don't demand this from me. Don't expect this from me. Don't need this from me. Ice Queen, Ice Queen, Ice Queen. Do you know how hard I've been working today? Do you know I don't have time for this? I don't have the patience for this. Do you know who I am? If you can have a look at yourself past this masterclass and actually consider you're only the main character to you, unless someone has put you in a villain or hero role, in which case you're rivaling the main character. Because when you look at a movie, let's say you're watching Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man. There's Spider-Man and the Green Goblin. Those are like the main characters in the movie, the good guy and the bad guy. The main character that you're rooting for and the main character that's against the character that you're rooting for. You put a villain in your life, you make them a main character in your own movie. Why would you do that? Unless it's supporting you as an excuse to be less and you need it in the narrative. If you say, look, I'm not doing as well as I want to do in my story, and I don't like that. And so in order to make this movie more interesting, I think what would be super helpful is if I had a really good villain that would explain why I'm doing less. So let's really rev up, let's amp up this villain that explains why me, the main character, is struggling. You add the villain. Because if not, no one can get in the way. You're just the main character. You're just thriving. And what happens when you put a bunch of superheroes together in the same movie? You get the Avengers, you get, whatever it is that you've got. You got a superhero movie where all the superheroes come together. And that's what we're really wanting to do, is to pull in superheroes into in our world and become a team of superheroes instead of constantly needing something to fight. Constantly in order to see if we're valid. I need a villain to make sure I can beat the villain. I need a hero in order to survive. I need this, I need this. You only really need you. So what would happen when you think about your children, if you realize, like, in their life, you are not the main character? When you remember being a kid, a teenager, your parents were important, but they sure as heck weren't the main character. They were either the villain or the hero. Or they were just a character in your life that mattered a lot. You've got to be at peace. This is where peace comes in the most in life. If you're not the villain and you're not the hero, then you're not a main character. Are you okay with not mattering all that much to everybody? Is that okay? Can you imagine the peace you would have if you don't need to be the villain or the victim? You don't need to be the villain or the hero to anybody. That means you don't matter all that much to everybody. Doesn't really matter. You get to be you. We all get to just be us. We coexist together. We share stories. We celebrate each other. Equal power, but different. Instead of punishing every single person who won't acknowledge you as the main character. Imagine the energy you would have to build your dreams. Imagine the allies that you would pull in if it were possible to be in a movie with you without rivaling for the main character role. Imagine the level of partner you would attract in a person who's willing to walk with you in a movie, but not willing to make you more important than them in your life, in their life. that's actually a far healthier person. One thing that's really mind-boggling is when you take this home with you after this module and you start to think about it. So if you're in a relationship later, in silence, you don't need to say anything, but just look at your partner and realize how much you've only made them your partner and how little of everything else you've paid attention to. Like, you know them as the person they are to you. When's the last time you ever considered them as a separate part from you? Even your kids. You know this much about your kids. If I were to ask you on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being absolutely everything, even the most embarrassing things, even the most intimate things. 10 is everything. 0 is they wouldn't recognize you on the street. How much do your parents know you? We're not getting a lot of 10s right now. Yet, how often do parents say things like, I know my children? I don't want to bet. You know the part they show you. You know the part they need to play. And those of you who said level 10, I challenge that. They know what's your favorite sex position? They know where your sexiest freckle is? I doubt it. Kind of really doubt it. They know the little breathing noise you make when you're excited? Don't think so. I think there's a bunch of things that I don't know. So you've got to really recognize that people don't know you and that you don't know people. Even when you say, oh, I know my partner, we've been married for this many years, I know my partner. Really? How much does your partner know you? 5, 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe, but not 10. So I love to be in relationship with people knowing I don't know them. It makes me respect them more. It makes them feel a lot more real to me. I don't know the people fully. I know what they've shown me, and that is a gift and a mystery. You're a mystery to most people on the planet. And that's a really cool thing. You get to be that. You get to be the most beautiful enigma that people enjoy getting to know. That gets to be who you are. And people get to be that for you. If you live the rest of your life getting to know your partner, getting to know your children, getting to know your friends, you're going to create a masterpiece for the rest of what's coming because everyone wants to be discovered. People don't want to be frozen in an identity you've decided they have. Because this is the other part of it is you still have things you want to change about you. Who here is still working on changing a few things? Can you imagine if your parents or your partner or your kids said, nah, they're never going to change that. I've known them forever. They're never going to change. Would you be okay with that? If they decided there was just no way you could change any of the things you wanted to change, like, I have no, that's never going to happen. I've known this person my whole life. Yeah, they want to change. Yeah. What if you kept your heart open that the people in your life are constantly changing and becoming the greatest version of themselves? And you are constantly changing. Then you don't need to be frozen and you don't need to decide who knows you and you know them and that's what they meant, because that's where all this stems from. Anytime you ice queen, it's because you've decided that you know what a person was thinking, what a person was feeling, what a person was, whether they cared about you or not, whether they valued you or not. Like, you've decided that you know that. So let's ask the question here. Has it ever happened to you in your life that someone has come into your life and decided that you meant wrong by what you said? They didn't like the way you looked at them. They didn't like what you said. They didn't like the way you said it. They tell you, you don't care about me. They tell you, if you clearly had these worst intentions, you clearly don't care, you clearly, and would not let you off the hook because they decided they knew you. If that has ever happened to you, even once in your life, raise your hand. If it happens to all of us, why don't we have the wherewithal to know people can be wrong? Yes, but other people can be wrong, but I can't. I'm the main character in my movie. It's not written in the script that I'm wrong. It was written in the script once, but I scribbled it out. I didn't like the way it looked. Just as much as other people are wrong about us, we're wrong about other people. Let there be space. Instead of deciding, I had a friend, but then she did this and that, what it meant was that. And so Ice Queen, haven't talked to her in 20 years. You know, I had a partner, but the partner did this. And I know that that means they never cared about me. And so Ice Queen, we've been struggling to raise our kids together for 10 years. The amount of emotional intelligence required to be able to anchor this in and make peace with this is big, but the freedom is limitless. If you're still punishing a person who cheated on you because you made it about something they did to you, I would love for you to consider that, as a matter of fact, that although it hurts so much, you were the last person they did it to. They actually just didn't think. And that hurts a lot. But it takes the person off the villain story and into their own life where something was missing for them and they did something that maybe they're not proud of, maybe they're ashamed of, maybe they're heartbroken by, maybe that's cost them so much. But it was their fight with themselves that they lost, and it had nothing to do with you. If you have a friend that said something so hurtful to you in the moment that you're never going to let it go, it's impossible that they care about you if they've said something like that. Have you ever said something and regretted it instantly and not been able to take it back? Have you ever said something and realized later that although it felt good to say, it was never worth saying for what it caused and the pain it caused? You're like, I would not have said it if I would have known this person would have taken it like that. It's our job to learn to give the compassion we pray for. Doesn't mean you need to continue the relationships. You get to say, I was married and I'm not because I can't be with a person who did this and this and this. I can't. But there's a difference between that and I hate them forever and keep them as a villain in my life forever. You're spending so much energy mad at the ex, mad at a parent, mad at an old friend, mad at the school system, the government, an old boss. That life force energy, if you let it come back into your body, will thaw your heart right out. You can survive the pain of anything. But if you freeze your heart, one shatter and the whole thing falls apart. The reason it's so important for us to melt is that we're actually very malleable. Hearts don't break. They tear. They're a muscle. They tear and then they rebuild stronger. How do you build a muscle? You micro tear it and you let it heal. Micro tear, let it heal. That's how you heal a muscle. But if you freeze something and you break it, it shatters. You've got to soften any anger you've been feeling. If you can see that you were not the main character in that event, you were a secondary character. The main character was going through something. They may have misbehaved. They may have not handled it properly, but they do not get to just be a villain forever because of one scene with you. And if you keep them there forever, it's your energy that it costs, and it's your movie that it's tainting. The Ice Queen knows deep inside that if she lets it go, that it wasn't true that she mattered all that much and someone wanted to hurt her, but instead that she just didn't matter in that moment, and that hurts. If you can just accept that you don't matter as much as you wish you did to everyone, then you can also make peace that not everyone matters as much as you give them credit for. And you won't worry so much about the person by the Coke machine that's scrolling as a bit part with no speaking role. You won't worry so much about everybody's opinion about everything. It's the craziest cycle in life. You've got to actually be able to let go of one side to be able to let go of the other side. I need to matter less to other people for other people to matter less to me. And that's the exchange we're not willing to make. It's like, if I matter to everyone, then everyone has to matter to me. If people are allowed to be mad at me, then I'm allowed to be mad at everyone. But what if the rule was, don't let me ruin your day? My day wasn't about you. Whatever I said, whatever I did, it was about me. Don't let me ruin your day. And what if you could turn that around? Don't let them ruin your day. Whatever they did, whatever they said, it wasn't about you. Don't let them ruin your day, your week, your month, your year, your decade, your youth, your best years, your life. You just didn't matter. And the thing is, the only person it really matters that you matter to is you. And on the day that you get that, you'll stop making yourself suffer for not mattering to other people as much as your little girl heart thinks you should have. It's our job to matter to us. And if you spend your whole life trying to matter to other people, you're not doing your job towards yourself. Because how you treat yourself like someone that matters is that you don't tell yourself the worst things about the people who didn't put you first. You don't tell yourself it's because you suck and you're not beautiful enough, or you're not smart enough, or they don't care about you. It's that your life didn't matter to them more than their life in that moment. Isn't that the way the world should be? We have an amount of love and passion and kindness available to everyone around us. We have that. But we will not put other people above ourselves when it matters the most. We'll do it when we have the bandwidth for it. We'll do it when it looks good and it doesn't feel bad. We'll do it when it's like, this will mean the world to you and it doesn't hurt me to do it. But if we think it won't matter to you all that much and it's going to kill me to do it, we absolutely won't do it. And if there's any variation of that in the middle, we also won't do it. So it can't always be when people don't treat you the way you want to be treated, you punish you and them. And so the little part of us that actually needs everyone else to see us is a very young part. It's not the grown-up version. And the reason these conversations are so frustrating now is because we really should have had them so much sooner. When we have them now, we've given up a lot, we've messed up a lot, we've sabotaged a lot, we've held on to so much, we've punished ourselves and others so much, and we didn't need to, and that is a really frustrating moment. But if you can give yourself this moment of freedom, it will give you the rest of your life back. If you can just give yourself compassion and anyone else who didn't nail it for you in your movie this far, let it go. So you can build the rest of your life the way you deserve to feel it, which is that you matter and you're focusing on your life being the most beautiful thing. And in that, you have a bit part in your best friend's life and a bit part in your partner's life. And you have a bit part in your parents' life, and you have a bit part in your children's life, and you get to make the best of that bit part. But you were never cast as a main role in someone else's movie unless they have put you on a pedestal or kicked you off it. And you don't want either one of those roles, trust me. You'll be happier nailing the bit roles as best as you can. And if you did something where you didn't nail the script, it's just what it looks like. It's not what it is, because we genuinely love the people in our life so much. But your script was written for you. And so if while you're acting the main role in your life, you forgot your lines in your friend's movie, you've got to have compassion for that. And when your friend is leading the lady role in her life and she forgets the script in your movie, you also have to have compassion for that, because everyone's in multiple features at a time. And the most important one is the one where you play the main character and it requires a lot of energy from you. How do you have a conversation with someone who has put you on a pedestal? You don't even have to have a conversation with someone who's put you on a pedestal. It serves people to vilify you, and it serves people to idolize you. There's something in them for that. It has nothing to do with you. Like, I wish you wouldn't put me on a pedestal and I wish you wouldn't hate me, but I have nothing to do with it, whether you do it or not. There's not much I can really say to you for you to not do that, because if it's serving you to do it and you're the main character, you're going to do it if it serves you. It's self-serving to have a hero. It's self-serving to have a villain. You will not manage to have someone not make you the victim or the villain or the hero if it serves them. They're going to do it because it's their movie. Just know that it isn't real. You're just you, and you're doing the absolute best that you can. So the homework I want to give you with this module, because this can bring up a lot of stuff, is to really just see how you can separate other people from your movie just a little bit and see how you might experience them differently if you were grateful for their secondary part in your movie. If you could actually watch your partner and be like, I am so grateful that you've chosen me as the supporting role. Like, I'm the one in your movie. Like, I'm the one that you chose. How am I doing in that part? And what else is happening in your movie? I don't think I've asked you lately. What's been going on? What else happens in your movie from your perspective? How's life? How are you feeling? What's going on? How's your family? How are your parents? How's work? It's been a while since you've been to do your hobby. Do you not feel like you have time to do that? Like, what's been going on with you? Asking as though you're watching their movie. Same thing with your kids when you see them, like, I'm so grateful to have such an important part in your movie, but I'd love to know what happens with you in the main role. Who's the best friend right now? Is there a love interest in the movie? Like, tell me the movie. Not, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you invite me? You never call me. I should have known. That's you being the main character. Can you separate yourself from that with curiosity for what's going on in other people's lives? And when you do that, you become the role they have always wished for. The one where the movie's about them and you care to be a part of it. That's all we truly wish for, is that the people that are secondary characters in our movie get the memo that in our life, we're the main character and they actually care about being the supportive role in the moment where they're in the scene. What kind of life might you have if that's how you interact with people? I enjoy, even sometimes I'll remind myself that this is the way life is. And I'm like walking towards the cashier at a grocery store. And I'm like, this person is having a full-blown day in their own life. I'm about to talk to them for 2 minutes and they have a whole life before and after me. What if I made a good impact on that day? And I show up, hi. And they're like, whoa, you're in a good mood. Yeah. Like, oh my God. And then that person maybe at the dinner table tonight said, I got this one person today at work. She was amazing. She was so happy and it made my day. Okay, cool. Like, maybe I made a 1-second imprint just for fun. When you tell someone you see something beautiful in them and you say, I really love the way you did that. Or, this is the most delicious coffee I've ever had. You nailed it. Thank you so much. You've got the best smile. I love your attitude. Thank you for your service. This has been an incredible day. Thank you for your help. Thank you for this. I love this place. I love this hotel. I love this restaurant. You nailed it. You're really great at your job. Thank you. 1 second of my time where I'm not the main character. I agree to be a bit part in your life just for a minute. I really enjoy doing that. I know I'm the best. I know I'm the leading lady in my life. I don't need people to tell me that. And because I'm confident with that and because I'm comfortable with that, I'm willing to give up that role very often to be a good part in yours, to be the happy client at the counter and the friend that has the best attitude and the one that does the best, baby shower you could ever wish for, and the one who actually sets up your 30th birthday party like it freaking matters, and the one who as often as possible. I'm not going to nail it all the time. I'm the main character in my movie. I've got a movie waiting for me. But every time I think about it, I nail it. And that's a really good feeling. And when people don't nail it, I remember they don't know what I know. Although I wish they did. Wouldn't it be great if the whole world could listen to this module just for what it might do for them, just for how they might think tonight, just for how they might respond to certain things in their lives. If instead of telling people, you never call me, you say, oh my gosh, I love when you call me. If instead of saying, well, if you would have asked about my life, you would have known that what I'm going through is blah, blah, blah. You say, so have you been busy? Tell me about you. What's been going on? And you actually care what might happen for a moment. You'll unthaw the frozen heart because everyone just wants to matter. And they just haven't realized that the rite of passage into womanhood is the moment you decide that you're the only one who can actually give you that. People can make you feel like you matter. They can make it look like you matter, but they can't make you matter. That's your job. And what matters is not what it looks like. What matters is what it is. So from this point forward, if you can stop needing other people to tell you you're the main character and just own that and appreciate it every time someone makes it look or feel like you are the main character, which you do not need, you will feel so abundant and full. It will be extraordinary. And then you can go on to pass it on, because in that certainty that you're the main character, you can play a bit part a few times a day. So if you have a breakthrough from this, share it in the group. Tell us what breaks through for you. Have a conversation with your mom with this perspective. See how it changes things. Have a conversation with your partner. Just look at your kids differently. Call a friend up and just try it on. See how it changes your perspective of people. The person at the gas station, anybody, from time to time, try it on just to see. And when you have the thought that people don't think you matter, just remember, it's how it looks. It's not what it is. And the only person that can make sure that you matter is you. And by thinking thoughts like that, you're not nailing your role as the main character in your movie. I want to thank you all so much for being here. And I want to share with you that if these are the kinds of conversations you feel are maybe the time for you to have, this is like one module, and Femme Fatale has like 13. And they're all out of this world. And if it feels like maybe that's the kind of thing that's on your agenda to work on for 2024, if you want to message my team and see how you can maybe get on a payment plan or get yourself secured for Femme Fatale, this is a really great segue. And I always include Magic on Legs with Femme Fatale, so you'll be able to credit the entire amount you paid for Magic on Legs to be in Femme Fatale if you want to do it. I always give this as a bonus. So if you want to come, it's in February. So you've got quite a little bit of time to create a payment plan and to get going if that's something that you want to do. If not, this was an absolute honor. I am so grateful that you were here with me. And try it on as often as you can. Share with us when you have a breakthrough. Tell us if something broke through, because people will get as much from your shares as they will from this program. It's in the lived experience of these conversations that our lives change. So don't just listen to what I said. Go see what that looks like for you. Go try it on. Enjoy the experience of living life this way and tell me all about it. Thank you for being such a beautiful part of my day. And for all of you that showed up on camera, you made a huge difference for me. And your smiles and your nodding and your comments, like, this was amazing for me. Thank you for being a beautiful part of my movie today. I love you. You're beautiful. You smell nice. And I shall see you on the internet.